Have sex as much as you want. Eat as much as you want. It will give you temporary happiness, fleeting happiness. But in the end, it will always stand there witnessing your emptiness. Insanely, we human beings try to fill this void within ourselves, and the void is only because we are missing. We haven't gotten to know ourselves, but we try to fill it with other things. And we're always trying to fill it, but it never gets fulfilled. More and more we recognize our own bankruptcy. Only way you will ever fill this emptiness is if you come home to yourself. There is a God sitting inside of you that you're seeking in other people's bodies. Come home to yourself.
What if I told you gluttony isn't about food? It's about emptiness. What if I told you that no matter how much you consume, pleasure, distractions, attention, it will never be enough. Not until you see through the illusion. Gluttony is not about indulgence. It's about filling a void that cannot be filled. It's about trying to escape discomfort, silence the mind, and numb the soul. Believing that more of something external will finally make us whole. But the truth? Gluttony is a hunger that can never be satisfied until you break free. In this episode of the 7 Deadly Shadows series, we're exposing the shadow of gluttony, the hidden force that keeps you trapped in cycles of craving, excess, and self-destruction. You'll learn the true nature of gluttony, how it manipulates your mind, and most importantly, how to transcend it. Before we begin, take a second to like this video. This helps more people awaken to these hidden truths and also helps you to manipulate the algorithm to bring you more content like this. And if you're ready to dive deeper into self-mastery, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the rest of this series.
You're going to be looking at some point in your life when the chips are down and the storms are rising. You're going to be looking for something like a sustaining meaning. And if you don't have it, God help you in those situations. And they're definitely coming. In fact, you might be living chronically that way right now, right? Depressed, anxious, nihilistic, on the edge of suicide. Because why? Because you haven't adopted any meaningful responsibility. Look, the emptiness in your life isn't because you don't have enough rights. You have all the rights there are. You have more than you should. And it isn't because you lack consumerist options. You have Amazon and pornography, man. You can get whatever you want whenever you want it. And if that's still not working, well, what are you missing? Well, maybe you're missing the opposite of that. A little bit of restraint, a little bit of sacrifice, some responsibility.
Welcome back to the 7 Deadly Shadows series, where we uncover the hidden aspects of the ego that keep us trapped in illusion. This is episode 4, the shadow of gluttony. If you've missed the previous episodes, check them out after this one to complete the journey into your own shadow self. Gluttony is a distortion of true nourishment. The universe operates in balance, expansion, and contraction, taking in and letting go. But gluttony disrupts this flow. It devours, it hoards, it refuses to stop. But why? Because gluttony isn't about pleasure. It's about fear. The fear of lack, the fear of emptiness, the fear of facing yourself without distraction. This is why gluttony isn't limited to food. Some binge attention, scrolling endlessly for validation. Others drown in entertainment, avoiding stillness. Some even consume knowledge obsessively without ever actually applying it, mistaking information for wisdom. At its core, gluttony is the illusion that something external will finally complete you.
I started to have a real funky relationship with food. I would overeat because I was emotionally undernourished, but then I would feel guilty for overeating because of a pleasure wound. I would feel guilty for overeating, and then I would fast. And then I would feel unsatisfied because now I'm not nourishing that part of me that needs emotional nourishment. And now I'm going crazy. So then I would break the fast and go eat cookies because I just can't take it. And so I was like, girl, what is happening here? It's like, what is this? Whenever I wanted to eat and I wasn't hungry, I had to find other ways to emotionally nourish, even if I didn't know what was wrong. Just trying different things until I could get to the root of when you were a child, you were feeling this way, and this is when this started. And in the Amazon shopping, like I said, all of that instant gratification, I started to feel emotional. So now I needed to buy myself something to feel better. Scarcity mindset is an emotional thing. But when we're in that state, what you start to do is prioritize instant gratification instead of long-term results. Because something is malnourished and you need it right now. You're malnourished and it says, I do not have. Something is lacking, something is scarce. I need it right now. Anybody else in here has struggled with being impulsive or impatient? This is where it comes up.
Ancient wisdom teaches us that the more you consume, the more you crave. In esoteric traditions, gluttony is linked to the sacral and solar plexus chakra, centers of desire, addiction, and self-control. When unbalanced, they distort our natural instincts into insatiable hunger. The ego survives by convincing you that you are incomplete, that you must consume, indulge, escape to feel whole. But gluttony is a mirage. The more you chase pleasure, the further you drift from true satisfaction.
If you currently feel empty inside, I just want to say congratulations, because this is a huge accomplishment. This means that you can no longer be distracted. Distractions and temporary fixes no longer work for you. Do you know how many people spend decades on decades of their lives distracting themselves and getting lost in all these things outside of them, hoping that one day those things will create peace within them? Meanwhile, you've reached the realization through your emptiness that nothing outside of you is going to fulfill you. This is a big fucking deal. So this next chapter in your life is about to be a great one, because your journey is going to go from outwards to inwards. And this is where that internal peace will begin to develop. So don't be too hard on yourself. You have just leveled up. Now, I love you. I'm out here.
To break free from gluttony, we must shift from consumption to creation. And I'm going to offer you 4 ways on exactly how to do this. Number 1, shifting from overindulgence to presence. Instead of seeking excess, practice savoring the moment. True pleasure is not in quantity, but in deep presence with what is. Number 2, shift from filling to feeling. What if, instead of numbing, you sat with the discomfort? What if the emptiness was not something to fear, but a doorway to self-discovery? Number 3, shift from taking to offering. The more you cling, the emptier you feel. But when you give freely, your time, your love, your presence, you realize you are never lacking. And number 4, shift from seeking to being. The ultimate realization: you were never empty to begin with. True fulfillment comes from not what you consume, but from what you create from within.
When you have nothing left and you feel like emptiness is the only thing that you know, it's very easy to fall into hopelessness. But have you ever thought that maybe you have to be emptied of what was so that you can be refilled with what's to be? Maybe this emptiness is what you've been asking for in its infancy. So maybe you're empty on purpose.
The fullest person isn't the one who has the most, but the one who needs nothing. Gluttony dissolves the moment you realize you were never empty to begin with. True nourishment is presence. True fulfillment is contentment. True satisfaction is knowing that nothing outside of you was ever missing. Gluttony is not defeated by restriction, but by deep, unshakable inner peace. The shadow of gluttony dissolves the moment you stop running from yourself. If this video resonated with you, drop a comment below. Where in your life have you been seeking fulfillment outside of yourself? And how are you reclaiming your power? Let's talk about it. And don't forget, episode 5 is coming very soon, where we'll expose the next shadow lurking beneath the surface. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.